Alrighty, this is an update on the 1/48 scale Apollo Lunar Spacecraft. I completed work on the service module, and I thought I would show you, some of the neat little things I've done to it. Again, built this generally as a Block 1 service module, basically as it came out of the box. I made some modifications to it just for fun, not trying to build something that's authentic to a Block 2, just keeping it Block 1 with a kind of a Block 2 paint scheme, if you will. So here you see the side of the service module. I'm going to do a little rotation here. I went with the greens in chromate paint. I think that that, not sure if it was ever that color, but certainly other rocket body fuselages and aircraft fuselages used this particular type of paint, so I thought it was appropriate, and I used it, and it looks good. So that's what I did on the front of the bulkhead here. The antenna is undersized for this service module. Flimsy, doesn't stand up very well. One of the things that you forget when you were a kid when you built this originally is how cheesy some of these parts actually were, and this is really cheesy. It painted up nice and it looks good paint scheme wise, but it just, it's wobbly. It doesn't stand up very well, so you don't want to mess with it too much and break the darn thing. But needless to say, it's there. It's mounted to it, and it serves the purpose of being, an antenna, if you will. It's could have been done a lot better, but this is how the kit came, and I'm not going to make any modifications to it. What I did do, however, is I made a couple of really cool modifications. Of course, if you built this before, you know how this panel opens up here, and it shows the oxygen, the fuel cells, hydrogen tank inside, fuel tank. But what I've done differently is that the service module, the outer skin of the service module came in 3 sections. This cover piece, a small section right here. You can see the seam for it there, and then another larger section of skin, if you would, that goes all the way around there. So what I did with this is I got a second kit like this, just a parts kit. Was incomplete, but it had just the right parts that I needed to convert this section to another door. So now, not only do we have the one panel opening up, if you will, I've got the second smaller panel opening up, showing the second fuel tank. Also shows the hypergolics for the RCS quads, and of course the hydrogen, oxygen, and the fuel cell. So that turned out pretty cool. One thing about these doors is they don't really stay open very well. That's just typical of these. They're flimsy. And so if you want to display them in the full open position, you may have to come up with an idea or a system to hold them open in place like that. But it does look pretty cool, especially with this extra panel opening up. That was my way of reconciling the poor fitting joint. The panel here has to be, you would have to glue this in place like this, and then you would have to work out this seam, and you've got this detailing right here and this detailing here, and you'd basically just end up destroying it. Guys who modify this modify this service module to look like a Block 2, they sand all the detailing down. They glue all the skin on this SM down, glue it all in place, and then they sand it all smooth, and then they reconstruct all the radiators and everything. That's something I chose not to do. Just masking off these radiators as they are was a bit challenging, so they looked halfway decent. But they turned out okay. I'm not unhappy with how it looks. The SPS turned out decent. You know, certainly not authentic, you know, with these 3 ribs on the engine bell, but, you know, as far as a pretty reasonable depiction of a service module, it you know, it looks really good. So I'm pretty happy with the outcome. Again, the first panel opening, and then the modification creating a second panel that opens up like that. It's pretty cool. Just a little different twist on the same idea. So then you close it up, and I've got the adapter section here. I'm gonna set it up on it now, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute here. So, all right, bring this camera up here. There it sits, right there. Not too bad. Just beyond it there is the boost protective cover. That's a 3D part made by Shapeways. Pretty nice. I've got that all painted up and ready to go. So that'll sit on top of the CM once the CM is completed. But yeah, it's coming along. So when I finish up the command module, I'll show you that, and after that it's on to the LEM. Thanks for watching.